Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We'll give a few minutes for a number of people to join and then we start. Thank you. Good morning once again. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We are so delighted to have you here. We want to start along the line. Many others who would want to join would join. But we are very, very excited to have you today. And it's the official launch of KPMG West Africa's internal audit celebration. In the month of May, is set aside as a time where we create awareness on internal audits. And this month is packed and is loaded with exciting and insightful activities that are designed to spotlight the internal audit profession and its growing impact. My name is Belinda Asem, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. For many people, internal audit is viewed as a policing profession, and sometimes it is approached with apprehension because it's seen as a fault-finding profession. However, in this month, what we seek to do is to provide valuable insights to reshape the kind of perception that we have, to deepen our understanding on the profession, and to demystify the role that we play. At its core, internal audit is built on strong principles. It's on integrity, it's on objectivity, it's on independence, and it's also on continuous improvement. And these are the principles we seek to highlight within the Internal Audit Month celebration. This year, our theme is empowering teams, elevating performance, the value of internal audits. In today's session, what we aim to do is to explore what internal audit truly represents and highlight its evolving role as a strategic partner in driving organizational resilience and long-term value creation. I want to encourage you to be active, participate, engage with the session, share your perspectives, ask questions, and challenge your thinking on how internal audit contributes to our organization and to all organizations where we all work. We have an exciting agenda lined up for us today. And without much ado, I would want to introduce our first speaker. We have very seasoned speakers on the bill who have relevant experience, who have a number of years of experience in the internal audit profession. So to kickstart, I'll introduce our first speaker. He's the person of Mr. Kwame Sapombanye. He's a partner in charge of advisory function in KPMG Ghana, and he has a wealth of experience in operational and financial audits, forensic audits, and risk management. He has served a number of clients and so understands the risk that businesses face and knows what needs to be put in place to generate return in a sustainable manner. He has done this for 21 years across Ghana, Liberia, and USA. He's a certified public accountant, a certified global management accountant, a member of the Institute of Internal Auditors, and also a member of the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. Kwame holds a Bachelor of Business Administration from Temple University, Fox School of Business and Management. He also holds an Executive MBA from Penn State University, Sales School of Business. Without wasting much time, I would like to invite Kwame to take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Melinda, for the heavy introduction. Good morning, distinguished colleagues, clients, and stakeholders. As we commence this Global Internal Awareness Month, it is important to be reminded that internal audit has deeply transformed and has really moved beyond the traditional audit that we know. Today, it's not simply a control function, it's more than that. I mean, there is a need for internal audit to partner leaders in a way to enable trust, build resilience, accountability, and more importantly, sustainable businesses. We all know that we are saddled with significant digital disruptions. There's no executive today that you speak to that will not talk about digital. AI is here. Cyber threats are emerging significantly. Regulatory pressures, economic uncertainties are here. There's a war that's ongoing. That's affecting all of us. There are some governance expectations that are also emerging. And for all of this, internal audit has to be more than a compliance function. And what it is that it is an insight-driven function that is supposed to enable businesses to be more agile and build confidence in decision making. That's what internal audit stands for. The true value of internal audit is really to help organizations identify emerging risk early so that leaders in these businesses can foster controls and processes to ensure that these risks are mitigated. Internal audit is supposed to strengthen governance so that businesses can achieve its strategic objectives, and more importantly, provide confidence in decision making. This role is something that is new for a lot of people to understand or embrace. So as part of this internal audit month, we really want to bring it out clearly. As I mentioned earlier, the greatest value of internal audit is enabling businesses to build better, faster, and more sustainable businesses. And that's what we stand for. However, for this to come to play, what businesses need is strengthened governance. Governance does so much to strengthen internal audit in the sense that a well-structured and effective board ensures that these value propositions that I'm laying out come to bear. Audit committees that understand and champion the value of internal audits make these points come to bear. And more importantly, empowered audit committees who provide independent insights and oversight are able to drive this strategic direction. While governance is important and very critical to achieving these points, it's a double-edged sword. Why do I say that? Internal auditors must have technical acumen. The head of internal audit and all the staff in internal audit functions must be able to now think beyond just checking things that happened in the past to providing that foresight. And when that happens, you see a very beautiful mix in boardrooms and in business strategy execution. Today, as we look forward, what internal auditors must focus on to continue to provide this value is leveraging data and making sure that technology is at the core of everything they do. Internal auditors must therefore understand how these things are impacting businesses to be able to bring those insights early, to be able to identify these emerging risks. They must have deeper understanding of the business. You cannot audit what you don't understand. So really specializing in areas to make sure that that technical acumen is high is important. Having the understanding of big picture, strategic decisioning making is very, very important. And long-term thinking to move beyond fault finding to new ways of doing things is really, really important. At KPMG, we believe internal audit must continue to move beyond compliance and ask questions more than are we compliant. We need to be asking ourselves, are we positioned to perform, adapt, and to win sustainably? Are we building more sustainable businesses? And are people being held accountable to drive strategic value for all? Ultimately, internal audit is a friend to the business. It's a third line that's there to enable growth, positioning, and more importantly, sustainable businesses. So thank you for joining us. And as we go through this month of May, please be reminded to deepen your understanding of internal audit. Thank you again for joining us this morning. Belinda, over to you.
Thank you, Kwame. Thank you. Thank you for sharing such valuable insights. Indeed, internal auditors need to build skills that are relevant in this era so they can provide the value that institutions require and need. And governance is also a very, very important aspect of the work of internal auditors. Thank you, Kwame. We'll move on to our next speaker, who will take us through the evolution of internal audits. She's in the person of Elizabeth Kwatinte. Elizabeth is an associate director in KPMG Ghana, and she has over 15 years of experience supporting organizations in the internal audit profession. She has built a wealth of competence in evaluating IT risk and controls, also in security of IT systems and infrastructure. Elizabeth is a CIA, or a certified internal auditor, a holder of the Certification in Risk Management Assurance, a fellow of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, a certified Sarbanes-Oxley expert, and a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt professional. Elizabeth is also a member of the Council of the Institute of Internal Auditors in Ghana. Please welcome Elizabeth as she takes us through the evolution of internal audits.
Great. I would start off with a question for us to think through. Today, if its internal auditing didn't exist, would organizations invent it? And this stems from the session Kwame just ended, Belinda's introduction as well, and what we will go through the rest of the session with you. Thank you, Kwame. Thank you, Belinda, for setting the tone. It makes my work very easy. Great. Right. So in terms of the evolution, we've come a very long way. I heard Belinda speaking about the policing role. And I also heard Kwame speak about the control process as well. So in the next 600 seconds or so, I will walk you through the journey from where we were to the current location or current situation that we find ourselves. And this timeline shows one truth, to say that internal auditing has never been static. We've always moved with the shift in history, risk, and then accountability. So that has really shaped what we do from time to time. So we'll begin in terms of the journey. Linda, if we can go to slide 3, that would help. There's a timeline that we would want to walk through. And the first on the timeline is more of the ancient roots of our profession. Internal auditing didn't begin in the boardrooms as we would presume or assume. It began thousands of years ago when societies first realized that stewardship really matters. And we are a lot of history, and if you've read any history books, the names I'm having to mention wouldn't come as news to you. So in Mesopotamia, in Egypt, and then in Rome, there were checks that were introduced to ensure that resources that were allocated were not misused. They had to entrust people with resources. And because resources are scarce, you must ensure that whoever you assign it to is able to steward it appropriately. So the message even became very clear that wherever there is responsibility, obviously there must be accountability. So internal auditing was born out of human nature and not out of any regulation. And this goes to highlight the point that even now, there are most jurisdictions where internal auditing is not regulated. And that does not mean that it is not important. It is great, it is important, and based on the benefit Kwame highlighted, we should embrace it with both hands. Then we move to the 1800s during the industrial era. So there was a shift to the industrial revolution. Businesses became very big. Owners became more distant from their day-to-day operations. And it then became important that they needed somebody who is independent to protect the asset, to verify records, and make sense of the exploding financial activity. Here again, growth made internal auditing inevitable. Right. Then we move to 1941 when Institute of Internal Auditors was formed, right? That is where we moved from the internal auditing being a clerical function into a profession. And here I believe that most of us who are in the profession are very proud of it. And we cannot move away from our founder or our mother institute, which is the IIA. So for the first time, internal auditors had a shared identity. There were standards ethics, and then global voice based on the establishment of the IIA Global, and by extension, its affiliates scattered across the globe. Then 1957, where the first standard was enacted or was developed. With growth come expectation, right? So with the evolution of the standards, it's elevated the internal audit from being a hindsight checking function to a more disciplined assurance. Now there was something that could guide the way we do our work, and the standard gave internal audit more credibility because we then have a source or a standard along which we look up to and then deploy all activities. In 1992, the COSO framework also came into being. And this was a fundamental mindset shift from individual controls that internal auditors are fond of testing to more system of control. So there was a well-defined avenue where you can look to see that if I'm testing controls, what should be my yardstick? And you've used the COSO framework up until now. It is a go-to document whenever you are reviewing or implementing any kind of control framework. So risk, governance, and internal control became organizational responsibilities, not just for internal auditors, because now any process owner could review the COSO framework and then implement their controls even before an internal auditor come into the scene. 2002, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act was passed, and it attests to the fact that corporate failure shattered public confidence, right? So the Sarbanes-Oxley Act reinforced one untouchable truth, which is weak controls create real consequences. It is not just an internal headache, but everybody's business, right? So internal audits move from their individual reviews to getting closer to the board, to the audit committees and governance structures so that they can provide answers to the public where the trust had waned. This was no longer optional. It was very essential with the enactment of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Then in 2009, the IPPF was launched. And here we go back to the IIA because they launched the IPPF. Then it became the one framework, one definition, and then one shaped purpose for our profession as well. Internal auditing was now clearly defined as an assurance and then consulting activity designed to add value. It is very important. We don't just check after the fact. We question the assumptions that underpins even strategy that the board and senior management develops along the way. So we then became more of the partners, or the identity partner became truly evident as well. Then just 2 years ago, 2024, there was the global internal standards that came to be, and that's what we've been using up until now. The new standard allowed the profession to enter into most demanding chapter because now the scrutiny, the expectations of our various stakeholders is really heightened. And for that matter, we needed a more rigorous standard that we should be working with. And if taking a closer look at the global internal standards, it taxes our bosses, which is the board of directors and even senior managers that we work with, to support internal audit because it's only when they support them that they can really provide the needed impact and also achieve the purpose of internal auditing, which is to create, protect, and then to sustain value. So the focus is no longer just on controls, but on risk, on governance, it's on value creation, and it's on resilience. As auditors, we are now expected to anticipate disruptions way ahead of time. If COVID didn't teach us anything, that is what it taught us, that we need to be forward-looking to disruptions and quickly advise our process owners, our audit, the board, to anticipate those risks, and then they can put in place the needed measures. So internal audit is not just behind the business. It works alongside, side by side. So that is the journey so far from the antiquity stage or era up until where we find ourselves. So what? Yes, we've come a long way, but the future is even more uncertain. And for that matter, IA Global rolled out a survey and came out with a report called the Vision 2035 report. And it gives the expectations of this our profession. So 2035, it would appear that it's far away. Here with us, are we really prepared to be the future-oriented, future-proof internal auditors who are forward-looking and anticipatory, who are technology savvy? They are also enabled as well. I know Bimpe will speak about more of the data analytics part. She's an expert in that field, so she would bring us to light some perspective we should be considering. As internal auditors, we've migrated from being the policing function or the police to a trusted advisor now. We are also the change agents in our organization because every audit that we undertake, the outcome of it becomes the founding stone along which strategy is set, along which processes are developed for the advancement of our individual organization. So the future of the internal auditor is not just an auditor of controls. It is more about being a guardian of trust and then value. And above all, as a profession, we have come to the realization that we need a total mindset shift from doing things manually into the digital world. Belinda, that brings me to the journey along the timeline of the evolution of internal auditing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Liz, for that valuable insights, letting us know how the profession has moved from being police to partner to trusted advisor. Now our focus is no longer on finding faults, but generating value for the institutions that we work for. Thank you so much, Liz. We'll move on to the next speaker, who would give a highlight on our specific theme for this year, which is empowering teams, elevating performance. Our speaker is in the person of Julius Ayivo. He's a partner with KPMG in Ghana. He has about 14 years of experience across audits, technical accounting, receiverships, liquidations, strategy, and operation. He has worked across various industries and markets in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and South Africa. He's a fellow of the Association of Certified Chartered Accountants. He's also a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana, a member of International Association of Restructuring, Insolvency, and Bankruptcy Professionals, and also of Chartered Institute of Restructuring and Insolvency Professionals. Without much ado, would call on Julius Ayivo to take the next session.
All right, Belinda, thank you very much. And a very good morning to distinguished guests on the call. So Belinda, I'll share my screen. So if you can please, allow me to share my screen quickly. I have 20 minutes to do this. So it starts, now. So let me just share my screen and please give me a few minutes. A thumbs up if you can see my screen. Just a second. Okay. Just 1 minute. Okay. Please, can you see my screen?
Julius, we can't see
Belinda,
your screen yet.
You can't see my screen. Oh, okay. Just 1 second.
Yes.
I'm not too sure what is happening. Yes. Is it showing now?
Not yet. Yes, it's showing now.
Okay. All right. Sure. So thank you very much, everyone, once more for joining this very important conversation. The topic for today is empowering teams, elevating performance. Empowering teams and elevating performance. So my outline is just as I've presented on the screen. I would start by providing some context. So when we talk about teamwork, what does it mean? When we talk about elevated performance, what does it mean? And how do the two concepts, speak to each other? And I'll delve a bit into what it means to have an empowered team. What it means to have an empowered team. Then I'll progress to, how that impacts positively on performance, within the context of the team that you put together. And I'll share a few, closing remarks. I would like us to start by watching this video that we picked up from YouTube, and then we can continue the conversation. So please pay a very rapt attention to the content of the video as it plays. So here you go.
Effective teamwork is key to a successful business, as it increases productivity levels and produces better solutions to problems. Companies that foster a friendly and collaborative work environment will be the ones to succeed in the business world. For the team to succeed, each member should know what their role and responsibility is in the team, and what the roles and responsibilities of others are. Team members should also make an agreement on what needs to be done and who it should be performed by. And each member must be responsible and accountable for completing their own tasks. A team that has specific goals and completion deadlines for a task will work together more effectively than a team without goals. Making decisions should be based on open dialogue, with all the members offering their ideas and solutions to problems. Members should have the team's support and commitment not only when making decisions, but also when carrying them out. With trust, members can feel comfortable taking risks to communicate, advocate positions, and take action. Team members that trust each other can also share their ideas and feelings while being respectful of others. A great way to build trust is to hang out with your coworkers outside the office and use this time to get to know each other better. A team should celebrate and accept member differences and their diverse backgrounds, as well as the value each one brings to the team. It's also important to view team members as unique individuals and concentrate on the positive attributes of each member. Try sowing a few of these seeds in your company. Find out which ones serve you best and reap the harvest of stronger teamwork.
All right. So thank you very much for watching. So maybe let me ask this very quick question. What one word, jumps at you as you watch the video? So you can put it in a chat, and I'll crave the indulgence of Belinda to just read, whatever comments come through from the chat, so we cannot hear it. And unfortunately, I can't see from where I sit. So, what one word jumps at you, as you watch the video? on teamwork. So you can please put in your charts, right? So building a team that just works. So think about, the best team that you've ever been on, right? I'm sure we've all at various stages of our working life, have been on different teams, right? And there are several aspects of the team that we've been on that have worked. There are other aspects that have not worked so well. So you think about that team that you've been on recently, and then ask yourself, what in that particular team made the team click? What made the team work? What made the team's objectives, work, or what caused the objectives for which the team was set up, to be met. So think about it, as we progress. This is an African broom, right? I'm sure, Ghana, Nigeria, we've all seen this before. There is something very peculiar about this broom, and you would note that it is made up of individual sticks, right? But the effectiveness of the broom is not based on the individual strength of the sticks, but the collective strength of the combined broom. What does it tell us? It tells us that teamwork can only work effectively when individual parts of the team work together collectively. So teamwork can only work effectively when individual aspects of the team work collectively. So there is no one part of the team that can succeed without the collective. So the idea of the collective, serves as the foundation for the team's effective performance and the team's ability to achieve its objectives. So what does it mean to be in a team? It's about sharing a common goal. Sharing a common goal. Being a team, starts from asking yourself why the team has been set up. There is a reason why the team has been put together. There's an objective. If it's a project, the project has specific objectives. It has specific deliverables. It has specific approaches by which, the project is supposed to be delivered. It means understanding the problem that exists that needs to be solved and why that problem matters. So starting with a common goal, goes beyond just the individual's job titles and roles and looks at a bigger reason that a team exists. There is a reason why, that particular assignment or project has not been given to an individual to execute. There is a reason why a team has been put together to execute that particular project. So starting with understanding the common goal of the team is very foundational and fundamental to teamwork. If you don't know why the team has been set up or the goal of the team, that team is sure, expected to fail, because then there is no direction, there is no focus, there is nothing that the team is being revolved or is being worked around. So the common goal is always very key. So when you're putting a team, the first question you need to ask yourself, why am I here? Or why has this team, been set up or been put together? It's very important. The second one that I'd like to touch on is mutual support and trust. When you're in a team, it goes beyond the individual, as I've already indicated. It means The team believes that you will do what you mean to say you will do. They trust you. That is why you're part of that team. Without that trust, you would not be part of it. Without that trust, that opportunity to work in that particular team will not be given to you. So when you are in a team, there is a need to demonstrate mutual support and trust in the other members of the team. There is a reason why there is a technical competence that you bring to bear, and there is another level of technical competence that another person brings to bear. You need to be very respectful of both. So what you know may be as much. What another person knows may take the results of that particular thing that you want to execute to another level. So while you have your own views, while you're able to share your own views on calls, in meetings, in team, discussions, you must be respectful of the views of others. That is why you're not working on that project alone. That is why you're working with others. That is why you're in a team. Because together, just like the way you can see the broom standing on your left, together, you'll be able to keep that environment clean. One broomstick cannot keep the environment clean, but together, the broom can sweep the dirt out of that space. The next is interdependence. When you're in a team, you are not alone. You are connected. There is a connection with others. There's a symbiotic relationship between yourself and every other aspect of the team. It means recognizing that your work is connected to each other's contribution. So which means that if there is an aspect of the work you're supposed to do and you do not do it, or you do not do it to the best of your ability, it affects the overall results of the team. So there is that connectedness. There is that togetherness. There is that link. So there's this saying that we are strong as our weakest link. So it's a very profound statement. What does it mean? It means that, as a collective, when there is a weak link, it affects the overall, output of the team. So interdependency is one of the key things that you must be aware of when you're in a team, that whatever I do affects others. You're not alone. The third I would like to touch on is collaboration and communication. Collaboration and communication. So what does it mean to collaborate? What does it mean to communicate effectively? Collaboration means that you don't do it alone. You recognize the need for others. You recognize the importance of the value others bring to the table. And then you leverage that value to deliver the output, to deliver the results of what is expected. It's about working together to produce outcomes that are stronger than what one could ever achieve alone. It's not just simply about dividing tasks where Kofi takes task A, Tunde takes task B. It goes beyond that. It's about recognizing. Collaboration is about recognizing the strengths of each and every member of the team and leveraging that, as I said earlier, to deliver the output that is required. And closely connected to that is communication. You can't collaborate effectively if you don't communicate effectively. Because you'll note that in projects, there are always several moving parts, and communication plays a very critical role in ensuring that everyone in the team is brought up to speed and everyone is on the same page. So you cannot collaborate effectively if you're not communicating effectively in your team. And effective communication also has something to do with what? Being very constructive with your feedback. Very constructive with your feedback. So an environment where team members feel, that they are able to share their ideas without any form of fear. They're able to raise concerns. They can admit mistakes. They can give feedback without fear or favor. Strong teams communicate openly. They don't criticize. They learn, they improve, they perform better together. They learn, they improve, they perform better together. So, to recap, to be in a team means you are sharing one single common goal, common objective, common direction, common purpose. 2, it means you recognize the value of each and every member of the team, and you trust that they are able to deliver on the mandate that they've been given, the individual mandates that they've been given, that in the collective achieves the collective good or the collective objective. 3 is that you are interdependent, you are connected, there is a link. What Kofi, a member of the team, does affects Tunde, another member of the team. It affects the collective goal or the collective outcome of the team. You are as weak as a team as your weakest link. Last is collaboration and communication. How does an empowered team, or what empowerment looks like in practice? When we say, so now we've spoken about, we've touched on what it means to be a team, right? What I want to now touch on is what empowerment looks like in a team. So when we say a team is empowered, what does it mean? So in an empowered team, decisions are pushed to the right level, That is defined by competence, information, and accountability, not by hierarchy. So when you're in a team, it's not just the leader that makes the decisions. Decisions can be made at different levels. And those decisions should be driven by the competence of each and every part of the team, so that it is not the leader's decision, but it is the decision of the group. It is the decision of the one. It is the decision of the collective. Why is this important? It's important because when decisions can be made at different levels of the team, it helps in faster decision making, better outcomes, because those doing the work understand the context. They understand the risks. They understand the practical implications. So as a leader that is leading the team, you are setting the direction. You are establishing what the boundaries within which the work has to be done are. But you do not need to involve yourself in every part of the decision making. You must empower your team to be able to take specific actions on specific things that they are doing that helps achieve the common goal of the team. So decisions must be managed at different levels of the team. That is how an empowered team looks like. Number 2 is clear expectations, not constant supervision. A team that is empowered has very clear expectations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the expectations of this team. They are not one that are constantly supervised, because there is no clear understanding of what the expectations of this team is. So if you want to achieve an empowered team, you must make sure as a leader, you are setting the expectations right. You are setting the expectations clear. Every individual member of the team needs to understand what the expectations of this team is. The third is open challenge without fear. True empowerment exists when people are safe to challenge ideas, raise concerns, and question assumptions. challenge ideas, raise concerns, and question what? Assumptions. A team is a stifled team if people can't challenge the ideas that are brought, because in challenging those ideas, you're able to refine those ideas into something good. If the team does not have the space to challenge those ideas, remain at their foundational stages. It will not achieve the overall objective of the team. They should be able to raise concerns, freely without fear or favor. They should be able to challenge, any assumptions that are made. So if you are part of a team and then you cannot challenge ideas that are shared, you cannot raise, new ideas, you cannot challenge ideas, you cannot raise concerns, that team is not one that can qualify to be called as what? An empowered team. Ownership of results, not just what? Tasks. An empowered team is one that takes the bull by the horn, takes responsibility for what needs to be done. They take ownership of the outcome, the results. They are not just busy with tasks or individual, things that need to be done. They are keen on what the results are, the outcome of what needs to be done. So they take responsibility for it. An empowered team that does not engage in blame game. So if something doesn't go well, it is a collective. If something goes well, it's a collective. If we fail, we fail together. If we pass together. So ownership of results is a key aspect of what? Of a team that is empowered. It's a key feature. It's a key characteristic of a team that is what? That is empowered. Belinda, am I doing well with time?
Just a few minutes more to go.
Okay, so what this empowers teams? So we just spoke about, how, teams that are empowered look like in practice. So my question now is, what I want to touch on now is, what are some of the things that can cause a team to lose its power or disempowers a team? The first one is decisions are second guessed. When decisions are consistently questioned, overturned after the fact, confidence gets weakened. So you're in a team, your team member is always bringing an idea, is always taking an initiative on the team, and all you do as a leader is to say, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Why did you need to come to me first? Why didn't you tell me first? I mean, you stifle initiative taking if you do that. And you break the power of the team, you break the cord of the team, then people are not able to think by themselves, people are not able to take initiative by themselves, people are not able to, to bring the best of their innovative abilities to bear. They are not able to bring the best of themselves to bear. They begin to hesitate, they delay action, they are always escalating unnecessary things to you, and you as a leader, you even become tired. It creates so much dependency rather than accountability. Instead of thinking independently, individuals wait to be told what to do. Which slows execution and reduces ownership. Number two is that mistakes are punished, not learned from. So in a disempowered team, mistakes are punished and are not, an opportunity for people to learn. When people make mistakes in a team and you're always blaming them, rather than drawing their attention to the need for them to learn from their mistakes, rather than empowering them, to learn from the mistakes they have made, you are weakening the foundation of the team. You're weakening the team. Then people cannot freely even make mistakes. Mistakes, are sometimes, more than usually a characteristic of teamwork. People will make mistakes, but their attention has to be drawn to it, and they must learn from it. It must not be used as a punitive tool. So the focus must move from what? The focus must move from the focus shifts from improvement to self-protection. When people make mistakes and you are just giving it to them all the time, they stop being themselves. They stop bringing their innovative part, out, their innovative, characteristics out, because they are afraid that when they make a mistake, they'll be castigated. Information is withheld. And when information is withheld, it limits the quality of decisions that are made. Decision making in teams ride on what quality information. So if a team is not empowered, they withhold information. When information is not shared openly, trust is reduced and alignment suffers. Lastly, is accountability is uneven. Accountability is uneven. So in a team that is not empowered, people are not held accountable at standard equal levels. What does that do to the team? It creates a lot of confusion, because if A does something, he's held very much accountable. But when B does the same thing, accountability is weak. There must be consistency in the way the team is held accountable. And in fact, holding people accountable could be both at the individual level in terms of their individual contribution to the team effort, and then from the perspective of the collective, of the entire team. Effect on performance. When you keep an empowered team, you improve quality of results. There are faster execution and responsiveness, better team spirit and togetherness, stronger accountability and ownership, and greater consistency in performance. When you have an empowered team, they deliver you the best results, because they are able to make decisions without always running to you. They are able to execute work faster. When you execute work faster, it means that you are being efficient. You are deploying the least of resources to achieve, the maximum or the most optimal output. The team is happy. There's so much cohesion, because they can recognize that they are part of an important thing. They are part of a big thing. And I will share my closing thoughts. All right. So empowering teams is not optional. It is the foundation of sustainable performance. If you want your team to perform at the most optimal level, empower them. Create the environment for them that enables them to thrive. Do not stifle their initiative taking. Do not stifle their ability to innovate. When they make mistakes, draw their attention to it and help them rise above it. there must be that connectedness, there must be that respect, there must be recognition, so that together you can achieve that common good that the team has been set up for. Thank you for your attention.
Wow, thank you, Julius, for such powerful insights. Indeed, an empowered team is the one that delivers the best results. Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts with us. We have our next speaker on the bill. This is not just a Ghana affair, it's also with Nigeria. It's a whole West Africa affair. And we have the next speaker, who is a partner from KPMG Nigeria. She is in the person of Bimpe Afolabi. She's the partner of Internal Audit Governance, Risk and Compliance Services. She has about 23 years of professional experience. And before joining the INGLC services, she was the head of Quality and Risk Management units at KPMG for over a decade. She has 2 postgraduate diplomas from the University of Texas at Austin in data science and business analytics and artificial intelligence and machine learning. So this is a data analytic person. She's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, a member of the Institute of Internal Auditors, a member of the Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, and a certified risk analyst. Bimpe will be taking us through the subject, reimagining internal audits from assurance to strategic value creation. Bimpe, would like to have you now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Belinda. Can you hear me? Can you see me? I can see myself, actually.
Yes, we can see you.
Thank you.
But your sound is a bit faint.
Is it? All right, let me just, is it better now?
Yes, it's better.
Much better. I'll just increase my pitch. I don't know who would be presenting. Do you want me to present by myself? I could do that.
We'll be doing that from our end.
Thank you there. Thank you very much. All right. Please tell me when it's off because I can just see myself. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I went off again. All right. Good afternoon from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you to our guests for, attending this webinar. It's the Internal Audit Awareness Month again. And, from KPMG, we try as much as possible to bring you what's happening, with regards to internal audit. And we do hope that with what you've heard thus far today, that you've seen actually a lot. You've heard a lot already, and you will definitely get a lot more during the course of the month as we go ahead. So thank you again for attending. I think I'll go ahead with this presentation. Kwame has said a lot, Elizabeth and Julius, they've taken us through exactly how the internal audit space is evolving. We are well aware that we're in a period where technology is also disrupting, where everything we do, we are really into another industrial revolution. So we need to start reimagining internal audit, from assurance to that strategic value creation. And that's where I come in, to give you some insight as to what exactly it is that you need to consider. As we move on, you'll see what our focus will be. So yes, this is the content. This is what I want to bring to you, the perspective, what internal audit is, the perspective with regards to internal audit, the evolution of the internal audit profession. Now, Elizabeth has done a deep dive into this, so I wouldn't take so much time when I go through this. And then the evolution, why we're evolving as internal auditors, what are those drivers of change that we need to be well aware of, and then what internal audit will look like now, in the current day, and in the future. And then our shift towards being advisors, despite the fact that we are internal auditors. Our shift, the shift is moving us towards advisory, and then we're embracing technology, as I've said. So let's move on. Belinda, thank you. So I'll start with the perspectives. What is internal audit? According to the IIA, which is the Institute of Internal Auditors, it is that independent, objective assurance and consulting activity designed to add value and improve an organization's operations. Now, when we look at this definition, it actually then says that there are two dimensions to it. The assurance, the fact that we provide that comfort, that's assurance, that confidence to critical stakeholders of any organization, which are the boards, the management, and that the risks are being addressed effectively. That's that assurance function. Now, what is the advisory function that we will get into further on in this presentation? That's the offering of insights and recommendations to improve the operations of an organization. It could be the governance, the controls, the processes, everything. So it's not just saying, oh, things are working well. It's now saying, how should they work? How best should they be implemented? What are the controls that are necessary? What are the governance structures that you should have in place? And what sort of processes should you implement to ensure that that assurance, that confidence, that comfort can definitely be, achieved? So therefore, as internal auditors or as an internal audit function, wherever you may be working at, it is no longer just about compliance. It's about creating value. We are no longer that tick box kind of of a function that will just go in there. Did you do this? Have you conducted A? Have you conducted B? What we are doing right now is that beyond that compliance, we're saying, what should you do? How better should you be doing this so that you're pacing with what's happening across the globe, and also we are creating value and adding value to the critical stakeholders. So as we move on then, Linda, thank you. Yes. And like I said before, Elizabeth has done a great job in taking us through how the internal audit profession has evolved. Well, let's start looking at it from this angle. Traditional internal auditor. The traditional internal auditor actually typically is viewed as that a group of people, auditors, those individuals that actually police the organization. Typically, we're referred to as police men or women. We go there to ensure that things are being done as detailed, as already highlighted, as already detailed in the document. So we are more compliance focused. We look out for the issues. We are trying to detect irregularities. We report to board on those gaps. That is the value that has been tied for so many years, as what we do as internal auditors, tied primarily to compliance. But what does it mean today? In the current day, certainly, it's no longer just compliance. The compliance aspect is still there. It's not gone. The fact that in the current age, this narrow view is no longer relevant. It's no longer as relevant as it used to be. Let me correct myself. It's evolving into that position, and I've said it before, that position where we are strategic partners, we provide the insights, we assess the risk continuously, online, real time, and then we support business transformation. So it's no longer that, okay, you've done whatever it is you want to do as a process owner or as a function, and then we'll come to then review your controls, we review your processes, we review your documentations, and then we'll score you. No. What we now take a look at is what exactly are your strategic objectives? How best does this align with what is happening in the industry? How best can we improve this current process so that you don't just implement something that is actually running into obsolescence? What's the value? What value can we bring? How can we advise you to be better? That is what internal auditors of today are becoming. And of course, with technology, it changes the dynamics completely. So we're moving beyond the compliance to playing that vital role in shaping the entire organization from a governance strategy and resilience point of view. And you know, because we are now evolving from that traditional compliance focused function, you know, becoming that value adding key enabler of all these processes that I've mentioned. This transition is very important because it's important for you and I as auditors. It also, you know, underscores our expanding role in providing that critical assurance, that comfort that those major stakeholders actually require. So as we move on then, yes, what are the drivers of change? What are the drivers of change when it comes to how we are evolving as a group, as a profession, as professionals within this space? Because there's been quite a lot of failures. Let's talk about corporate scandals, for instance. I'm not going to go into any case studies here, but we have enough of it. We have enough of case studies on corporate scandals, those failures of corporate organizations that we see that, yes, they were internal auditors. So what went wrong? So this is a major driver for why we need to evolve from that traditional point of auditing. Regulatory pressure as well. When we take a look at regulatory pressures, we say to ourselves that the regulators are changing. They're taking a look at how things are done. And they themselves are saying, well, with what is happening with these corporate scandals, with these failures that they're seeing a lot more, what does this mean? So laws are being enacted quite fast, quite quickly, that actually then puts a bit of, you know, demand on us as well that we need to evolve. And there are quite a lot of complex risks actually happening. So when we talk about technology, these are part of the issues. So with technology comes the flip side as well. You need to be to ensure that your controls are well and are well in place, are well implemented. So because now with the advent of artificial intelligence, advent of solutions and softwares that aid auditing, you also need to look at where can things go wrong. So it's not just taking solutions or adopting technology that aids us in how we conduct our audits going forward. It is what can go wrong with the use of those technology. Cybersecurity is very critical. Sustainability, now these are no longer buzzwords. ESG is no longer a buzzword. It's actually here to stay. The environment and governance, as we've always spoken to, data privacy. People are now more conscious of how their data are being, you know, processed and, you know, stored. So what does this all mean? Those complex risks are happening as we transfer data across borders. What does this mean? Because we are actually becoming more, there's a whole lot happening from a global scale. We are becoming localized as well. There's the national, you know, conversations regard to globalization, which is having still the global presence and then the local presence as well, and marrying the two and bringing those two together. So what happens to data moving across jurisdictions? How can we ensure that data has been well protected? And then the critical thing, which is the digital transformation, the fact that there are new technologies, and as internal auditors, we cannot, you know, ignore that these new technologies are here to stay. In fact, we all know that even in our private lives, we do know how well this disruption has taken over. The way we search for information on the internet has changed generally. You're not having conversations with the AI, the LLMs. It's no longer, I'm looking for something. It is, can you tell me how? Those are the kind of disruptions that we are seeing. And it's actually affecting every single part of the business. And so as internal auditors sitting within an organization or helping clients to actually deal with whatever risk that they come across, we cannot ignore the fact that these tools are there, they can aid us, and we need to use them, and we need to become conversant with them, and we need to even understand their use. So it also impacts on our skills, which is also part of what Julius has spoken about. And then, you know, when we bring all this together, you know, from a stakeholder expectation, stakeholders now, because of these disruptions, because of this, the amount of failures that has happened or that have happened across the globe, different jurisdictions, because of the different regulations that are being pushed out by different regulators across the globe, because of these complex risks, stakeholders' expectations have actually increased significantly. Boards, investors, even our the management, they are requesting for more comfort. They're requesting for that assurance that, okay, are we doing things right? Are we closing the gaps? Are we remediating fast enough? Are we pacing with what's happening across the group? So those are the things that stakeholders are actually demanding of us, and they are looking to us. And that's why part of our role is not just to report to management. Part of our role is to actually report to the board, and the board are demanding. Boards are demanding from us, this sort of assurance. They're demanding that it's not just they've done what they set out to achieve, but what are the other things that we may be missing? So stakeholders' expectations have really changed. And these are the drivers of change, and why it's very important that we evolve as professionals within this space, and we evolve our units and our teams, in addressing all these issues. So as we move on now.
They don't need approvals.
Sorry, is that a question? Should I pause for questions? Belinda?
No, Bingpe, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So please, can you bring this slides up again? I think I lost you. Yeah, fantastic. It's back. Great. So I think I've spoken a lot to this slide, but let's go over. We are no longer just there to tick the box. We're not just there to identify where the gaps are. We are here now. What's the current day internal auditor is expected to do is to add value. And because the expectations have really increased, we are being asked to play that vital role in helping to manage risk, to improve the processes. I've spoken to this already, and to ensure that the different process owners achieve their strategic goals. Some of the roles, or the activities, or what we are becoming as part of this evolution is the fact that we are now becoming more skilled in risk management, identifying risk. You need to then now work closely with those that have been assigned that primary role. But you need to understand what it is that they do so that you can actually add value. You can actually recommend, you can suggest, and recommend, how best they can do their work. So we become more of risk management. We become their partners. We work hand in hand with them. We become governance advisors. I've spoken to this as well. The stakeholders, critical stakeholders at the boards, they're relying on us, to come up with an independent evaluation of how best can we move from where we are. It isn't just about, okay, yes, this process or this group has set out to achieve these certain goals. It is, are those goals actually, do they reflect what's happening across the globe? Are they in line with best practices of today, not of yesterday? And what should we be thinking of in the future? What are those future aspirations that we should have? Those are the kind of questions. Those are the kind of advisory type work that governance are demanding of us. And then when we move to technology and cybersecurity, we now become those skilled professionals that must actually have some level of technological competence to be able to take a look at the technological, solutions in space and see how well these solutions are being implemented, how well they're actually addressing the risk, and how well they can predict if there are issues or, identify gaps or red flags as we use them. So, from that perspective, our skill set are also evolving. You must be able to then start talking about the IT security controls. What are the IT resilience plans and the digital transformation initiatives? We should be able to review those documents and then say to the organization or to our colleagues in those businesses that your plan is not robust enough, or is robust on this side, and there are some other things that you need to look out for. So those are the things that we need to, particularly as professionals, also acquire those skills. And now with the use of AI, AI is here to stay. We can't overemphasize this. We need to start now saying, okay, what are the solutions based on? What exactly is this AI tool relying on? Where is the data? What's the quality of the data? So data quality becomes very critical. How well have we secured where they are in terms of security, in terms of cyber security? How ethical is our use of those data? should somebody ask for any information? Are we open? Are we transparent enough? Are the data and the computations and the calculations and the reviews being done, are they transparent enough and not opaque? Can we defend what it is, our reliance on those solutions? So those are the things that we as internal auditors need to start acquiring those skills for, so that we can also conduct those reviews. And then generally, as an operational excellence enabler, we should increase, if we actually take all these 3 critical areas that I've spoken of on the slide, then we actually then become the enabler of operational excellence. Internal auditors increasingly then review the efficiency of the organization as a whole. You talk about the process automation. You actually look at the resource allocation. Do we have the right set of people? Do we have the right number? Do we have the right qualifications? Do we have the right mix? Even if they are diverse qualifications, do we have the right mix? And so that whatever organization that you work for, you are actually that strategic advisor, and the board actually has the correct reliance on you, and all other process owners, particularly the other assurance functions like internal control, like risk management, like the finance function, then looks at you and then say, yes, we do have strategic partners in the internal audit function and in our internal auditors. So then what essentially the overall thing is that we become that operational excellence enablers, for the organization. If we move on. Yes. So why, I've spoken a lot as to what has changed, why we need to change, what is driving those changes, and then where exactly is this change taking us to? That's why we're shifting towards that advisory point of view. According to the High Vision 2035, and I think Elizabeth actually spoke to this report actually has indicated that internal audit will shift towards being an advisory partner. We are seeing it happen actually. It's not just a documentation, it is happening. And how will it happen? How will it happen? Technology will be the enabler for this shift. And definitely as internal auditors, we have no choice but to embrace technology. And so when we say we are transitioning from an assurance-focused perspective or view to a point where it is advisory focused, what we are saying is that currently we are doing a lot more of assurance, 76% to 24% advisory. But by the time we hit that year of, review, which is the 2035, what is the saying is that it would have moved significantly to a point that it's almost 50-50. Yeah, we may not have come, but we would have moved from just that compliance type, assurance type sort of professionals. We would have moved to advisory. And, I've spoken to all the things that we need to do to move us to that point. And what are those expected challenges now? It's not just that we are just walking through this whole thing. We need to start talking about our mindset. As auditors, we are not going to keep doing the things the way we used to do it 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, the same way, going in the next 6 months. We need to actually understand that the first thing is that our mindset should change. We should overcome that policeman perception, that watchdog label that we have. We should actually then start saying, what other skills should I acquire? I recall that Elizabeth actually did mention that, okay, I do have qualifications in some of this technology, this new technologies, disruptive technology. Yes, as internal auditors, we need to start acquiring those skills. So talent acquisition and skills acquisition, changing your skills mix. So we may be accountants foundationally, but we need to start taking on those technology, integrations into what we do know. And how we facilitate these skills is that we then understand what's changing. What are the new processes? What are the new technologies out there? How can we ensure that we actually pace, and not only pace, we also are able to anticipate what's going to happen in future with regards to technology. And those are the things that would then make you quite relevant in today and for the future. I know I'm really running out of time, but so let me move on. We're about finishing anyways. So from the technology, because technology is going to be the catalyst for the change, you need to start thinking, and it's not just generation and generative AI, it's actually AI generally, because there's a whole lot more to artificial intelligence than Gen AI. So now, because organizations are adopting artificial intelligence solutions, so what does that mean? So from data quality, from anything risk, from anything controls, for anomaly detections, from predictions to predictions, and to actually then say what can go wrong. How do you prevent anything going wrong? Not just being detective, now being predictive in nature. Clearly, those are the things that are being implemented today, because the adoption of AI is actually on the rise. And it's actually rapidly transforming everything that we do. So there are quite a lot of solutions. There are quite a lot of, what do I call it? Topics with regards to the adoption of AI. So we say continuous auditing, real life auditing, making sure that you are monitoring as transactions are happening, implementing solutions that can actually flag issues, whether it's fraud, whether it's non-compliance issues, whether it's issues with risk, whether it's control failures. Those things are now the request. The kind of solutions that are being implemented these days are things that would actually enable you to monitor as transactions are happening. And that is what artificial intelligence is. And as an internal auditor, what does that put you if you don't even understand what the solutions are? And so the expected challenges, again, is that you have to continuously learn as an individual, as a group, as a team. You just have to acquire those skill sets so that when you see, you can think through what's going on here. What am I saying in reviewing this dashboard? Is in reviewing this particular solution? What does it mean? And when you adopt technology, adopt technology that will aid you, not technology that would even add to your issues. Then where is the data picking information from? What's the quality of the data? Where is it being stored? How secured are those places? Those are the things that we need to understand. So it is data analytics, it is the data science behind it, it is the data engineering behind it, and coming all together to even understand the disruption within the technology space. And what, as we all are clearly aware, technology will increase efficiency. It will give us better results. We just need to be, in it and, acquire those skills. So as I wrap up, this presentation, Belinda, please move to the next slide. Thank you. Yes, that's my last slide. What I would say to you, in conclusion, is that the future of internal audit is no longer on the horizon. It is here, and it demands that we move from that assurance to that strategic value creation. I've spoken to this in all of my discussions this morning. Tomorrow's internal audit is already here. There's no tomorrow about internal audits and the use of technology. We are already shaping the strategies. We're strengthening the organization's resilience. We are creating value where it matters the most to our key stakeholders. And the question is not whether we should evolve. We have to evolve. We are already evolving. If we are not all doing it, some of us are already evolving, because the future is here and value creation is now the mandate for it. So I'm going to leave that with you to say that wherever position you are in terms of maturity, please know that it is time that you adopt technology and you ensure that you pace very well with this disruptive technology. You have to reimagine what it is that you do as an internal auditor, and then move yourself from just that assurance point of view to become a strategic value adding professional to an organization. Thank you very much for having me. So Belinda.
Thank you so much, Bimpe. You've shared very valuable points with us. We need to leverage technology as internal auditors in order to provide the strategic value that organizations need. It means that we have to build the necessary skills. We need to begin to learn how to proactively identify the risks that come with using this technology. And all these will help to ensure that we are driving excellence, we are providing the value that institutions need. Thank you so much for sharing those points with us. All too soon, we've come to the very end of the session. If there are any questions, you can drop them in the chat. As at now, we do not see any questions, but we can go ahead to take some closing remarks from Elizabeth. Thank you.
Right, Belinda, thank you very much. Bimpe, thank you as well as Julius for the insights shared so far. We've learned so much, and we can't leave on this call with some call to action. The first point is that we have lined up of activities for the month. The internal audit month is for the whole of May. We are just in the first week. And as KPMG, this is our 4th year where we are celebrating this month. And in times past, we did a lot, and this year will not be an exception. So subsequent to this launch, which we do appreciate each and every one of you for joining us, we expect that you walk with us on this journey throughout the month and even beyond to be our advocates and our ambassadors in your individual workplace, so that whenever internal audit is mentioned, you are able to bring perspective to play. We've walked you through the evolution. We have gone past the era of the policeman, the era of the checker, the era of the control tester. We are in the era of being the strategic partner as well as the trusted advisor. So please, if you've been with us and you've enjoyed the session, you are our ambassador. So on the 13th of May, there'll be a public webinar as well. And we believe that you would see the notification and then join us accordingly. In line with that, we will put a form in the chat area. And if you're interested, you would put in your details so that we could share the notification with you accordingly. The topic will be enhancing audit quality and evidence, tools and practices for high-performing audit teams. And that will be in line with our week 2 focus, where we are improving audit quality by building understanding of the proper evidence collection. You would bear with me that quality is not an event, it's a process. It starts from every single day, what you do as an internal audit team. And I believe that the principles applied in internal audit would also be relevant wherever you find yourself if you are not an internal audit professional. So we would entreat that you join us accordingly. Then on the 19th of May, there will be another public discussion on driving efficiency and collaboration in internal audit delivery. We will close the month on the 28th of May with another webinar where we are moving from findings to impact. How do we use audit results for continuous improvement? The work we do doesn't end with the issuing of the reports. It's more importantly about what becomes of the outcome. And we will share some perspective as well. So we have some great insight to share ahead of the month, and we expect that you join us accordingly. With that said, if you are an internal auditor, I think we would also like to mention that this is the month that you need to make some noise about the profession in your individual organizations. And you can share some insights through emails. You can also have some webinar as we are having with your process owners. You could visit some schools as well, because it is important that we groom the next generation of internal auditors. Pick a school, either a tertiary institution or a second cycle, and your aim is to share the insights about internal audits for our up-and-coming talent to consider it as a career path as well. So please consider that in your planning for the month. And then we also encourage our internal auditors to learn the business of learning. Pimpe highlighted the fact that things are changing, And sometimes you can't keep up with the pace of change if you have not developed your learning ability. So as internal auditors, we need to learn the business of learning so that we can catch up with the emerging technologies as well as the trends that are happening quickly. And then one thing that have always come up is that the concentration of our work to being just assurance, to the neglect of the advisory part. And I think based on conversations that we've had and insights we've gathered, it usually stems from the fact that, one, the business or the process owners may not be aware that we could support them do the advisory part of our work. The second setback has always been the fact that some internal auditors may need support in undertaking this advisory role. And that is where KPMG, we come in to support you. So if you need support or assistance with embarking upon some of these advisory roles, we are available to support you accordingly. With that said, I would like to say thank you very much for joining us this morning. Enjoy the rest of the day, and we will catch up soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and thank you to all speakers for sharing such insights with us. Thank you also to our colleagues in Nigeria for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on the call with us. Thank you to our clients and the general public for participating in this webinar. As Elizabeth has said, we have a lot lined up for the month. So as and when the publications go out, we'll be pleased to have you join us once again. Thank you. Do have a lovely day. Bye.